This situation may seem overwhelming, but it's not what you think, because God is in control and has a plan. Many times in life, we face challenges that seem too big to handle. We might feel lost, confused, or even hopeless. But in these moments, it's crucial to remember that there is a higher power at work. God's control over our lives is like a guiding light, leading us through the darkest of times. When we put our faith in His hands, we can find peace and assurance that everything will work out for the best. God's plan for us is always good, even when we can't see it right away. If we don't trust God's control in our lives, we might feel lost and anxious, missing out on the peace and direction He offers. When we try to manage everything on our own, we often end up overwhelmed and stressed. Our own understanding is limited, and without faith, we can easily fall into despair. By not surrendering to God's plan, we risk missing the blessings He has in store for us. Trusting in God's control is not just about relieving stress. It's about embracing a life full of purpose and meaning. God's wisdom is infinite, and when we lean on Him, we tap into a source of strength and guidance far beyond our own. When we put everything in God's hands, we acknowledge that His wisdom and power surpass our own. This trust allows us to experience His guidance and support in every situation. Think about the times when you tried to handle things on your own and it didn't work out. Compare that to the moments when you let go and let God take over. The difference is clear. When we trust God, we open ourselves up to His infinite wisdom and love. He knows what is best for us, even when we don't. Putting everything in God's hands means that we stop worrying about the outcome and start trusting that He will provide for us in ways we can't even imagine. This kind of faith brings a profound sense of peace and security, knowing that we are never alone and that God is always with us, guiding us every step of the way. Trusting God brings peace to our hearts. When we let go of our worries and place them in His hands, we can rest assured that He will take care of us and our needs. It's natural to feel anxious about the uncertainties of life, but trusting in God's control changes everything. Imagine the relief of knowing that you don't have to carry all your burdens alone. God's love is a shelter, a safe place where we can find comfort and rest. When we trust Him, we allow His peace to fill our hearts, replacing anxiety with calmness. This peace is not something we can create on our own. It comes from knowing that God is in control and that He is working all things for our good. By trusting God, we can let go of our fears and embrace a life of serenity and confidence. In times of trouble, remembering that God is in control can be a source of great comfort. Reflecting on past experiences where He has come through for us can strengthen our faith. Think back to moments when you faced difficulties and felt overwhelmed. Now recall how, in those times, something shifted and solutions appeared, often in ways you didn't expect. Those moments are reminders of God's presence and His active role in our lives. When we face new challenges, these memories can serve as anchors for our faith, reminding us that God has always been there and will continue to be. Reflecting on God's past faithfulness builds our trust in His future provision. It's like looking back at a well-traveled path and seeing how each step, though uncertain at the time, was guided by His hand. This awareness gives us the courage to face current and future challenges, knowing that God is in control and that He will never forsake us. God's control means that He has a plan for us, even when we cannot see it. Trusting in His plan requires faith and patience, knowing that He works all things for our good. Life can sometimes feel like a puzzle with missing pieces, and it's easy to get frustrated when we can't see the whole picture. But God sees everything from beginning to end. His plan for us is perfect, designed with love and wisdom. Trusting in God's plan means believing that every piece of our life's puzzle is important and will fit together perfectly in His timing. It requires us to have faith, even when we don't understand why certain things are happening. Patience is key, as God's timing is often different from our own. By trusting that God is in control and that His plan is unfolding exactly as it should, we can find peace in the waiting. This faith allows us to embrace the present moment, confident that God is leading us toward a future filled with hope and purpose. Surrendering our lives to God allows Him to shape us into the people He wants us to be. This process may involve challenges, but it ultimately leads to growth and fulfillment. When we let go and let God take control, we open ourselves up to transformation. It's like clay in the hands of a potter. We are molded and refined through our experiences. God uses every situation, even the difficult ones, to teach us, strengthen us, and bring out our best qualities. This surrender is an act of faith, acknowledging that God knows what is best for us. It can be challenging to relinquish control, especially when we are faced with trials. However, by trusting in God's process, we can endure these challenges with the assurance that they are making us stronger and more aligned with His will. Through this journey, we discover our true potential and find deeper fulfillment in our relationship with God. Letting go of control can be difficult, especially if we have been hurt in the past. Healing comes when we trust that God is in control and that He can bring good out of our pain. Past hurts and disappointments can make us wary of trusting anyone, even God. But it's important to remember that God is a loving and compassionate healer. He sees our wounds and understands our pain. By placing our trust in Him, we invite His healing touch into our lives. This trust doesn't mean ignoring our pain, but rather acknowledging it and allowing God to work through it. Healing is a process, and it often requires us to be patient and gentle with ourselves. As we trust God with our pain, we begin to see how He can transform it into something beautiful. Our scars become testimonies of His grace and power. Through this healing, we not only find personal peace, but also become sources of comfort and strength for others. God's control extends to every aspect of our lives. By acknowledging His sovereignty, we can find meaning and purpose in all that we do, knowing that our lives are part of a greater plan. Every moment of our lives, every decision we make, and every experience we have is under God's watchful care. When we acknowledge His control, we begin to see our lives through a new lens. Our daily tasks and interactions take on greater significance because we understand that they are all part of God's grand design. This perspective gives us a sense of purpose and direction. We are not just wandering aimlessly, but are on a journey that God has carefully planned. By aligning our will with His, we find joy and fulfillment in even the smallest aspects of life. Knowing that we are part of something much bigger than ourselves inspires us to live with intention and gratitude. Believing that God is in control helps us to let go of fear and anxiety. We can live with confidence, knowing that He is with us every step of the way. Fear and anxiety are natural responses to uncertainty, but they can paralyze us and prevent us from living fully. When we believe that God is in control, we can face life's uncertainties with courage and hope. This belief doesn't mean that we won't encounter difficulties, but it reassures us that we are never alone. God's presence is a constant source of strength and comfort. As we navigate through life's challenges, we can do so with confidence, knowing that God is guiding us and providing for us. This assurance transforms our outlook, allowing us to approach each day with a positive and hopeful attitude. Trusting in God's control frees us from the burden of worry and empowers us to live boldly and joyfully. Letting go of control and trusting in God brings a profound sense of freedom. We are no longer bound by the need to manage everything ourselves, and this liberation allows us to fully experience the joy and beauty of life. The pressure to control every aspect of our lives can be overwhelming. It can lead to stress, frustration, and a sense of inadequacy. But when we surrender to God's control, we release ourselves from this burden. We realize that we don't have to have all the answers or solve all the problems on our own. This freedom opens our hearts to new possibilities and experiences. It allows us to be more present in the moment and to appreciate the blessings that surround us. By trusting in God's plan, we can embrace life's uncertainties with an open heart and a peaceful mind. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to our faith in God's love and wisdom. Trusting in God's control helps us build stronger and more meaningful relationships. When we recognize that God is in control, we can approach our interactions with others from a place of love and understanding. Relationships can be challenging, and our desire to control outcomes can create tension and conflict. But when we trust that God is guiding our relationships, we can relax and be more authentic. We can love others without fear of rejection or disappointment because we know that God is working in and through these connections. This trust allows us to be more compassionate and forgiving, seeing others as fellow travelers on the same journey. By placing our relationships in God's hands, we create a space for genuine connection and mutual support. This approach not only strengthens our bonds with others, but also enriches our own lives with love and companionship. So, my friends, remember that God is in control of everything. Trusting in His plan brings peace and purpose to our lives. When we surrender our worries and fears to Him, we find freedom, healing, and joy. God's love and wisdom guide us through every challenge, and His presence is a constant source of strength. By embracing His control, we can live with confidence and hope, knowing that we are part of a greater plan. Type "God is in control" in the comments if you agree, and like the video to spread this message. Your participation helps our community of believers grow stronger. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, subscribe for more videos on faith and motivation. Until next time, keep trusting in God's plan. Peace and blessings.